Mr. Smith is a total sham, and should I say, sir or ma'am? So after you get your many loves, put on some nitrile gloves and listen in. We'll help you out. We'll help you with some sex throbbing. Sex with Robin. You know you want sex with Robin on Split Radio. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Sex with Robin on Split Radio, where we talk about sex, kink, dating, non-monogamy, any and all of that good shit. My name is Robin Beach. I am a former stripper, former pro-dom, former nurse with experience in cardiology, psychology, and sexual health. I am located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish and Musqueam Indigenous tribes, colonially known as Vancouver, Canada. So it is 10 o'clock, just after. Audio's good on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. It's good to see you also. I am going to warn you, my kids are home. Okay. They're sick. I was waiting for it. I honestly thought it would happen faster than that. And I think I feel it a little in my throat. So I think I might be getting something as well. So please forgive me if my voice sounds a little off. But yeah. Few things to mention, because today's show, we are going to talk game changers. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But I do want to share some updates with folks, because I have had people asking how I'm doing post-surgery. I had a hysterectomy. Tomorrow will be 9 weeks. So this last week was the 8-week mark, which is a really happy, great, good mark after surgery, after a hysterectomy. It's a long recovery. I'm still sore in certain places. I can still feel soreness in like my incisions a little bit, like if I do too much. And I was only allowed to have penetrative sex, allowed by my doctor to have penetrative sex after the 8-week mark. So I've been having a lot of sex this week, and it's been awesome. And I think that's also contributing to maybe like the tiredness of the throat. So I don't know whether or not I'm sick or just tired from a really, really, really awesome weekend. But my kids are snarfly, so I'm staying home either way. And I am feeling really good. So it's nice to get back into it. I am definitely not 100% yet, but I'm getting there. Yay. So we can talk about that another time. If anyone has any questions about the whole hysterectomy thing, we can always cover that. I know I've been talking about it so much lately, but if you have any questions, you can totally ask. So today, the topic for today, I warn you, could be a heavy one. I think it's more of a scary one. I think people are more scared of it than anything. And I do think it is one of those things that they're scary, but not like if it actually happens, it's not nearly as bad as the fears, if that makes sense. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Game changers. I'm just going to help. Let's talk about what game changers are. It's a common phrase. It's more commonly used in like non-monogamy circles, like polyamory and stuff like that. Anything that is, consensual non-monogamy. A game changer is essentially a partner or a relationship that sparks a really big change. And so that can look like all kinds of ways. And it doesn't have to be a non-monogamy thing. Like really, truly, it's just someone you've met that changes a lot. Now, the people that we meet in our lives, obviously, I really believe the people that we surround ourselves with, certain parts of our personality are brought up. And I know that there's the science behind that, but like over the years, like now my laugh has changed and sounds a little bit more like Brandon sometimes. And Brandon sometimes when he laughs sounds a little bit more like me, because we've been nesting partners for like, actually this March will be, Brandon and I will have our 10-year wedding anniversary. So that's exciting. But we are impacted by our partners. And I have been involved in 2 game-changing relationships. I mean, that I can think of that I wanted to share. And Brandon gave me permission to talk about this. He has stated that I was a game changer for him. And yeah, I don't know if anyone remembers. I know people do remember, those that maybe were around that time. I'm not going to obviously give away any other like people's information, but Brendan was in a relationship with someone else when we met, and it was like everyone was cool. It was all non-monogamy. We were all like consenting and knowledgeable. We've always been non-monogamous, but he said dating me was a huge game changer for him in that he was not in a very healthy relationship. And he didn't realize how toxic and unhealthy that relationship was until we started dating. And he was like, oh shit, this is what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. So for example, and this was hard. This was really hard. And I'm sorry Brad is not here. He did give me permission to talk about this. He's actually working, so he actually really can't be here. So maybe one day we can come on and talk about more stuff. But things like when I don't want to say an argument, but like a discussion where we had a disagreement came up, or maybe there was a problem. And early on in our dating life, and I would see him kind of shutting down. And I would say, like, can you tell me what you think? Like, I want to hear what you have to say. And he would kind of like, I could see him shying away and being afraid to speak up. And I recognize that. And I would be like, I genuinely, really, truly want to know what you think whenever you're ready, however you want. Like, please tell me what's going on. And it would be hard for him to open up. And then when he did, I was sure to be like, you know what? Thank you. Like, and I genuinely felt that way. I was like, thank you. I just want to know what you're thinking. I'm not going to shut you down. But it was like, anytime there was him needing to share or have an opinion, it was difficult for him. And he was realizing that a healthy relationship, you should be able to speak up and talk about your feelings, and that your feelings are valid. And yes, you can share. And anyways, so he was realizing like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. Oh, okay, maybe the relationship I'm in is actually really unhealthy. And it was. And so he had broken it off. I'm not going to go into too many details, but it looked bad because this other partner was saying, you've left me for Robin. You left me for her. And he's like, no, we're not monogamous. I'm not leaving you for her. I'm leaving you because this relationship is not healthy. And I'm with her because this is a healthy relationship. And it was a game changer for him. And it really definitely changed the way he looked at relationships and what he was allowing. It allowed him to find more boundaries and stuff like that. So it was a big game changer, and it did look bad. And just because it did look a little bit like I came into the picture and I was a game changer. And then he was like, okay, this relationship isn't healthy. I'm breaking it off. And yeah, I'm going to go on with Robin, and I'm going to go on and have more relationships. So there was that. There's also, I've been in a game-changing relationship where, please tell me, by the way, if you have any experiences or thoughts or questions, throw those in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of talk and share my experience. Oops. I'll move on. Unless you have questions about like Brendan and I wish he was here to speak on it. But it was big. It was a lot. The other one I can think of where I dated somebody who was a game changer for me. Oh, we've got a comment, but actually it is about me and Brandon. So before I go on about the game changer for me, I'm going to address this. Hi, Christy. Let's see. We've got, and not all of it shows up, but I will read all of it. It says, thank you for sharing, Robin. Yeah, and Brandon. He gave me permission, okay? We discussed it before I went on here. It says, these topics need to be heard. I've gone through huge transformations after toxic relationships due to childhood trauma and unhealthy boundary setting on my part. My whole last 5 years has been one game changer after another, says Christy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is where I'm like, I'm of the, I got to make sure I got my head above so you can see, just lengthen my neck. Game changers aren't always going to be a good thing, but I kind of see them as a good thing. Like it usually should be a good thing in that it's a positive realization or a positive change in your life. I'm going to take this down so you can actually see my face. But thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so someone was a game changer for me, and it was more about my journey to coming out as queer. For years, and this is due to the really internalized homophobia that was really drilled in to me and my culture of how I grew up and my family upbringing. It was you're going to hell, you're an abomination kind of stuff. Babe, what's up? No, you can wait until I'm done, please. And then I'll make you soup, okay? I think I said that last time they were here. It's like, as soon as the show's done, you're getting soup. Because if you're homesick, you're having medicine, you're resting, you're having soup. Anyways, so for years, I honestly struggled a lot more with my queerness than even I recognized. And this wasn't a healthy thing to do or necessarily ethical, but I would avoid romantic or emotionally intimate relationships with femmes and just keep it more to a sexual thing. And I was like, well, if it's in a threesome, it's less gay, right? Like some people, I know you know what I mean, and I know it's ridiculous. But for some reason, for some people, sometimes you're like, it's less gay if it's a threesome, right? And it's okay. That queerness and the gayness is okay. This is me sharing how it felt for me as I was trying to really accept that. And I ended up in a relationship, in a queer relationship that was a major, major, major game changer for me. In that this partner immediately saw that it was an emotional struggle for me still, that I did have a lot of internalized homophobia. And so we were like playing in a BDSM and sexual context as just like, yeah, let's play. And I burst out crying like partway through. It's like an emotional thing for me where I just burst out crying, and the person we'll just call them, I was gonna say we'll call them B, but that's what I call Brandon. I need another letter. Give me another letter. Well, I'm just gonna say them, okay? I burst out crying, and they're like, you know, there was a BDSM and sexual context, and so immediately they checked in and they were like, hey, are you okay? And it just came out. I said, I think I'm really gay. Like, this is real. I was like snot ball crying, like barely getting words out. I was like, I think I'm really gay. And I'm really thankful for this person, because I'm getting emotional now. They recognized that. A lot of other queer and gay people have been through similar kind of things, or at least had other partners through similar things. And so I was so fortunate to have in that moment a partner that saw and knew, like, and just, you know, patted me and with a little smile, they were like, I think you're really gay too. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up like spending the night together and having a lot of really great talks. And this person was such a big game changer for me in terms of my accepting of myself and my coming out to myself and coming out to others and coming out. Brandon, same thing. And I literally came back from that time with that person and told Brandon, and I was like, I think I'm gayer than I think I am, or something like that. And he's like, well, duh. He was, for a lot of you that know us, he was like trying to get me to come out more, and he was encouraging me to come out more because he could also see that I was struggling with my own internalized, deep-rooted homophobia that was there, and I didn't realize how there it was, but I let it out. And so yeah, this partner, and we dated for a good couple of years after that. It was a really game-changing relationship for me, and it changed a lot of how I live my life, the people that I surround myself with. It did change my relationship with Brandon quite a bit, but there's other things in there too. So I would say that person was a big game changer for me in that, in my queer journey, and really helped me come out and have a good look at myself and realize like, oh shit, that's internalized homophobia, and that's not okay. And actually maybe some of the just kind of considering it, maybe, well, it's less gay because it's a threesome, or avoiding emotional connection with femmes and just trying to keep it physical was a little bit unethical, but not, I wasn't lying or anything about it. It was just me avoiding it. So yeah, those are the game changers that I have experienced. And so in both of those cases, they were a positive thing for the people. It it was a healthier thing to do in both cases. Now you look at, say, Brandon's former partner was obviously not great with what happened. Like, that wasn't a positive thing for them. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. I don't really talk to them anymore. But, there's that fear of abandonment that comes with especially non-monogamy. Hi, sweetheart. I'm still working. There are fears of abandonment, and we all have those fears. If your partner's going on a date with somebody else, or if partner's having sex with somebody else or something like that, it is scary, because you think, what if we have fears of abandonment? We all have insecurities. So it is a scary thought of that, like, what if that person is a game changer for them and then they leave me? And it's like, well, yeah, that is possible. And that's what's really scary for a lot of people, and maybe part of why they might be uncomfortable with non-monogamy. At the same time, like, even if you're not monogamous, game changers can still happen. You hear about it all the time. Somebody fell in love with their secretary, or maybe an in-law, or it happens. It happens. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't already have to be an open relationship for someone to fall in love with somebody else, is all I'm saying. Or to have a game changer where they're like, wow, this person actually is amazing. I didn't know a relationship could be this good. But you do have to be careful. That's not NRE talking, and that's not lust and chemicals talking. So maybe don't go running off with your secretary if you can avoid it. But talk, communicate. If you fall in love with someone else, you got to work on that. And yeah, but game changers happen. I'm going to point out this book. Where the fuck did it go? I just had it. Oh, it fell. Oh, I got to be nice to my books. Don't fall. It fell. This, I will say, there have been certain things, I don't actually know the details, of, I believe, one of the authors of this book that have come out. So I'm just going to recognize that, but putting that aside, I do like this book. I don't have any information to talk about the authors, but this book, I really, really like this book. It's called More Than Two, an ethical guide to it's not an ethical guide, a practical guide to ethical polyamory, by Franklin Bowe and Eve Rickert. I do like this one. I kind of think this one is, I describe it sometimes as kind of the more advanced one, because it doesn't sugarcoat. It's like, and it talks about, there's a few parts about game changers mentioned in here. And I had a bookmark in here, and I guess when my book fell, I lost it. So that's lovely. I'm just going to go to the back. Game Changers. I love a good book with a good index. Game Changers. Here we go. Game changing relationships. There's no, this is the one I like. 248. Everyone get your page to 248 if you're with me. Okay. Yeah. It's got a couple other mentions of the book, but this is the specific one I really like. I'm just going to read a little bit from here because there's stuff in here that's really good. I do recommend, but yeah, it starts out with like what it is. The game changer is a relationship that causes us to rethink all our relationships and maybe even our lives entirely. It may be a relationship with someone who fits with us so naturally that the person raises the bar on what we want and need for our relationships. Yeah, really, 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 really good. And it says here, a game-changing relationship is invariably disruptive. And it is. But I think, you see, it says here, yeah, not only are structures designed to prevent game-changing relationships will unlikely work, it wouldn't necessarily be a good thing if they did. Change is scary, but that doesn't make it bad. There's nothing ignoble in trying to preserve the status quo from things that can make our lives better. Unfortunately, when a game changer happens to someone who's already in a relationship, it tends to concentrate the wonderfulness in one place, but spread disruption around. So when your partner starts new relationships, you may feel compelled to seek reassurances that things won't change for you, at least in ways you don't like. It can feel very reassuring to extract a pledge from your partner that you will always have some measure of control. Good luck with that. It actually says that. So I really love the way that is kind of, that's the energy of this book that I like. When I say it doesn't sugarcoat things, it is like, it acknowledges and stresses that there are things that we can't control, and we all want security. We all want reassurances, and it's okay to ask for reassurances and validation, of course, but to a reasonable level, to try to install like, okay, but you're never going to leave me, right? Which, yeah, that's a hard one. I know I've shared this before. The vows that Brandon and I shared were, and we still hold to this, as long as it's healthy. We're always going to try to keep our relationship a positive one as long as it's healthy. We're going to live together as long as it's healthy to do so. That's our current agreement. And it's like, if that changes, then we'll talk about it. And it's scary. Uncertainty is really scary, but I personally have found that acknowledging it makes it less scary. As long as it's healthy. But I also feel like for me, that is a motivator to work on keeping our relationship healthy as well. Because I don't want it to be unhealthy, and I like how we are, so we work at it. But that doesn't mean it's possible one day he could meet somebody that is like, yep, I'm, moving to Australia. We have kids. Again, that doesn't necessarily protect, it doesn't mean that won't happen. It's a lot less likely. I think that Brandon would up and fuck off to Australia without taking me and the kids with him. I don't think that's likely to happen, but it's possible. Life gets messy and you just have to talk about it. So I would definitely, for those listening, I would encourage just, you to evaluate what it is you're looking for. If you're wanting that reassurance that you're never going to leave me kind of thing, that's a difficult one because you kind of be like, I can't make that promise. I'm sorry. If things are not healthy, I'm fucking out. Legit. And things happen. Life changes so much. Quick tangent. Okay, I went to a party this weekend, and I am finding this, like, a lot of people do look different because it's been a couple years. So I've changed my hair a couple times. My makeup may be different. I've ordered new glasses. Like, it's been a couple years. So going to a party and I'm like, everyone, like, there's a moment sometimes where I'm like, who are you again? Oh, hey, you look great, or whatever. Obviously, be careful what you say because people's bodies have changed as well. So maybe don't comment on that. Oi, kitty, being a kitty. So that's just it. People change. Time changes things. Time changes relationships and people. And it is healthy to change. It is healthy to grow. It is healthy for a relationship to evolve. You don't have to have the escalator, of course. You can have, it's okay for things in a relationship to stay the same. But what I'm saying is that, yeah, people change, time changes, and relationships will evolve to some extent eventually, right? Yeah. Change is natural and normal. And it's scary, but you have to acknowledge, these things. And I think the better that we do, at least, because I remember my mom freaking out over our wedding vows that we had said, we wanted to stick together and, promise to always try to work on the relationship as long as it's healthy or something like that. Or we promised to work on keeping a relationship a positive one as long as it was healthy to do so. And she was so mad at that. She's like, no, you should promise to be together through thick and thin, rich or poor, sickness and health kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but also no. As long as it's healthy to do so, buddy. And with that, I feel like I have felt, I don't know. I can understand how it's scary, that uncertainty. And trust me, uncertainty is terrifying, but things are good now. And if I worry about it too much, then I'm probably just going to create more of a problem when there wasn't one to begin with. So I'm just like, I'm just going to enjoy what it is and also keep motivated on keeping our relationship healthy. And if a game changer happens, it happens. We'll just try to, as I like to say, burn that bridge when you get to it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Sorry, I'm just looking through this to see if there's anything else I really wanted to point out. Because I think there was a bit on parenting in Gamechangers. Yeah. Nope. I feel like the things that are said here are pretty much things I've already said. But this is a good one. We live in a world with no guarantees. And accepting that is hard. Yeah. Yeah, I like this quote here. The desire not to lose what you have because your partner meets someone new is rational and reasonable. What is neither rational nor reasonable, though, is attempting to build structures that allow your partner to have other relationships while guaranteeing that nothing will change for you. Relationships don't work that way. Yes. Because you know what? And I hear this all the time, like all the time. And I get it, but no. I hear a lot of, we can date and be open as long as it doesn't affect our relationship. Maybe that's something we can talk about actually on another episode, like vetoes. But this is related to that because, like, the veto power, that is something I don't agree with. like being able to veto a partner and be like, no, you're not allowed to see them. No. Or the whole like, we'll date other people. You can date this other person or have sex with this other person as long as it doesn't affect our relationship. It's going to affect your relationship. Everything can or has the possibility of affecting a relationship. And I believe that exerting that control over this other relationship or this other person is just not treating them like a human being, treating them as disposable. No. Yeah. The whole concept of, okay, but as long as it doesn't affect our relationship, it may or may not, but that's literally what is being said here, that you're attempting to build structures to allow that nothing will change. And you're like, that is a possessiveness there too. That's a fearful response. Then you're holding on so tight. It kind of makes me sad. Like this imagery I just had was like of a child that loves this little animal, this cute animal so much that they might be squeezing it too hard, that they might actually like harm it or kill it because they love it so much, but they don't understand that they're holding on so tight that they're actually killing this little animal. That was just, I'm sorry, it's kind of morbid, but that was just an image that came into my head of what that is like. Clearly, this child loves this animal and just wants to give it so much love. But you might be suffocating the animal or squishing it. And it's like, you do have to let the animal go. Especially if it's like a wild animal, right? I'm picking flowers. I tell my kids, and I get it. I get that you want to pick those flowers, but if you really love that flower, you should leave it and let it grow. But they're like, but I want to hold it. I'm like, yeah, but that's about you. You're literally killing that flower when you pick it. So you're saying you love it and you want to own it and you want to control it. Robin, just let your kids pick some fucking flowers. It's like, I just feel like I could hear someone saying that. But you get my point, right? Trying and holding on so dearly to somebody is, if anything, might just be hurting them. Let them have their bodily and personal autonomy, and be thankful for the fact that they are still actively choosing to be with you. That's kind of it. Telling stories today, because I got another one. It made me think of when I was dancing, when I was a stripper. And my boyfriend at the time really struggled with even just like hearing men cheering for me or anything like that when I was working, because he would pick me up and he would get really upset. Like, he wouldn't want to show up early. He tried to avoid showing up early because he'd be picking me up right after my last show. So if he was early and he hears cheering, he knows that I'm on stage just finishing up my show. And it would really bother him to hear the cheering, because he would be like, I can't stop thinking about all of those men that are looking at your body and you're giving them lap dances and stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. I'm coming home with you at the end of the day. I'm still choosing to be with you. Look at all these men out there that are helping me pay, the fucking rent and for school. They're awesome. I love them. That's great. I do. I loved a lot of my clients. But I'm still actively choosing to be with you. I don't have to do that. I don't have to be in this relationship. You could leave, but I'm not. I am choosing to be with you. And that's not nothing, right? That's something. That's kind of what I try. And he said, he was like, you know what, that actually does help. Because I was like, yeah, I'm not having sex with these guys. I'm coming home to you. And even, but now, and that was, now that I am having sex with other people, not clients, then I'm still choosing to be with you. And there's a lot of value in that. I mean, so that's something that I try to encourage people to hold on to. That they're still choosing to be with you. They don't have to. And just enjoy. If there are issues, then maybe they need to be addressed. But it's one of the hardest things, I think, for people to accept the lack of control that we have in our lives. But it's so much easier when you could just accept lack of control. And I'm not saying it's easy. I have serious control issues. But it is easier when you can accept and talk about it. We all have, trust me, we all have insecurities. What are your thoughts? Have you experienced any game-changing relationships? Any questions about game-changing relationships? Otherwise, I'm kind of just going and talking and looking through this book for other things. Oh, I like this. From there, the next step is to say, quote, even if things change, I have worth. I believe my partners will make choices that honor and cherish our connection, whatever may come, because I add value to their lives, etc., etc. That's nice. That's nice. Ooh, I like this. Yeah, there's when considering an agreement, what is the purpose of this agreement? Does the agreement serve the purpose it is intended to serve? Is this agreement the only way to serve this purpose, etc., etc.? I like the renegotiated agreement part here, because checking in a relationship, just because you have agreements, again, things change. You need to do those regular check-ins. Are the needs now the same as the needs when we agreed to this? That's a good one. I like that. Has this agreement been successful in meeting the needs it was intended to meet? Has anyone been harmed by this agreement? Oh, I like that. That's definitely going back to the whole, like, yeah, we can date other people, or you can date other people or have sex with other people, as long as it doesn't affect our relationship. That's not treating that other person like a human being and can be harmful to them. That's just, yeah. And then the last one on here says, is this agreement serving the people involved, or are the people serving it? I like that one too. Let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, there's a bunch of mentions of there. I shouldn't say a ton, but there's definitely a few mentions of game changers, and that was kind of the main stuff. But there's a couple other mentions in this book, more than two. Again, I don't know the details of stuff that has been claimed about the authors, but I do like this book. I think it is a really good book for non-monogamy, and I think people that aren't monogamous should read it. There's probably more. I wonder, Joey, what's your favorite non-monogamy book? What is your favorite? And I'm going to see if I have it. You can't see it. It's just off the screen, but that's a shelf up there. I've got all my books. Ooh, I'm old. Let's see. What are some other ones I really recommend? Oh, here's one. Love's Not Colorblind. Kevin A. Patterson wrote this. He's awesome. Race and Representation in Polyamorous and Other, alternative communities. That's a really, really good one. There's another one. Kat Stark, Waking Up Polyamorous, also a good one. There's one I'm trying to find in particular. I don't see it here. I don't see it. I was actually looking for Opening Up. And I don't see it. I don't know. Opening Up is a really good one. And now I'll try to pull it up for you. Because, especially throughout COVID, I'm finding a lot of couples are wanting to open up over the last couple of years. And I've been getting a lot of questions about that. I definitely recommend it. I'm just going to pull this up. Opening by Tristan. There we go. I never know how to pronounce their last name. Tormino. Very, very, very good book, especially for someone that is maybe newer to non-monogamy. Or if you're in a monogamous relationship and wanting to make that relationship non-monogamous, because that is different than like entering into a relationship right away as non-monogamous, as opposed to you have monogamous and now you want to open it up, which is literally the name of the book, Opening Up, by Tristan Taormino. And they're great. I've heard them speak publicly, and awesome stuff. I don't have it on me. I probably lent it to someone, to be honest. I need to not lend books. I feel like, oh, what is it? Someone told me they always take a picture of that person with the book so they get their book back. I'm just like, come over and read it. Because I can't lose my books. I need them. Because I'll never get it back. Who has my Opening Up book? Probably Brandon. I don't know. So, Gamechangers. I don't know if there's even that much more to say about game-changing relationships other than it can happen. You don't necessarily have to be monogamous or non-monogamous in order for someone to meet a game changer, or for you to meet a game changer, or something like that. It happens, and I'm going to say it's often a healthy thing. It could be an unhealthy thing for sure. Someone has a bad case of NRE and they just run off, and then it might turn into a disaster or something like that. We've seen those relationships that are like really, really, really passionate, and it can get intense. That's how you end up with the Depp v. Heard. I can't say because I didn't know them, but I'm like, I can tell. I can almost imagine what the relationship was. It was a lot of fighting and a lot of fucking. A very, very passionate relationship, which sometimes you put too much fire together, and yeah. A relationship needs to have communication, needs to have boundaries and respect and trust and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, actually that does make me think of, speaking of Johnny Depp, there was that really, really awful quote that he was quoted years ago saying something to the effect of, if you fall in love with a second person, choose the second, because it means you didn't love the first one, or something like that. Or there's something wrong with this first relationship if you fall in love with someone else, which is obviously total bullshit. So that definitely explains some of the behaviors of or maybe even thought process behind the whole, I'm going to run away with this person because I'm in love. So clearly there's something wrong with my other relationship. And that doesn't have to be the case, obviously. But yeah, a game changer is someone that really just changes your perspective, and it is life changing, and can happen. Just lots and lots of talking, and things can be really difficult. Be gentle with yourself. I always tell people, be gentle with themselves, because that is a lot. And a really drastic change, like a game-changing relationship, if anything, it would be the transition, I would think, that would be especially difficult, because a lot is changing in a very short amount of time, and it's difficult for us as humans to adjust to change. We're pretty adaptable, but in that moment, like immediate adaptation, maybe not as much. It's a little, causes some anxiety when change like that happens so quickly, especially if it's so drastic, especially if there's a lot of unknowns, because we fear the unknown, and we, as humans, struggle with a lack of control. So when a big change like that is happening, do anticipate that it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be exhausting, and it's going to be emotional. But, do what you can to be empathetic and gentle with yourselves and each other. A lot of communicating, a lot of check-ins, a lot of, okay, what do we want this relationship to look like? And what do we need to get there? Yes, sweetheart. I am very nearly done. About 5 more minutes. Yeah. And then soup? You can probably hear them running around playing even though they're sick. I'm trying to work from home and they're sick. And typically my rules are if you're staying home sick, you are sick. You are resting. You are having soup and lots of fluids. And you're taking your medicine. Yeah, that's clearly going great. I do need to mention, of course, I have to mention adamandeve.com sponsoring this video and this channel. They are really awesome. It's a website that has a ton of all of the sex things, like everything from different lubes to different toys and accessories. It's got a lot of stuff on there. So I do like the wide variety, and it does help with accessibility a little bit because there is such a wide variety of options and wide range of prices. The thing, and I've told them this and I don't like it, so I'm going to be honest about it. I don't like how gendered their website is and how they've gendered their toys, but that was my feedback, and it's still great stuff and a lot of really great deals. And where is this information? Because you need my promo code SWR. Here it is for Sex with Robin. 50%, as in half off almost any one item. So like if you try the promo code, it might be 50% off. A lot of them is 50% off. A few of them might be like 35% off or 25% off for a few items, but most of them is 50 plus free shipping in the US and Canada. We almost never get free shipping in Canada, so that shit is exciting. Treat yourself. So treat yourself. You get it half off a really nice item or something like that. Treat yourself. They always throw in some freebies as well. The children are starting to really yell now. I don't know if you can hear them, so I should probably go. So we're calling off. I love you all so much. And please, please, please remember, if your family, loved ones don't support you or accept you for who you are, I'm your family now. I love you all so much. I'll see you next week live on Mondays, 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST on Sex with Robin Split Radio. Bye. Butt plugs, dildos, polyam. The loose smith is a total